Hello, this is a very important question, and I want to go into details, basically changing the alternatives and variations so that it can guide you in your beautiful journey in your elevated American dream. Can I travel outside the US? So, this is the general question, and I'm going to go down from your potential status and try to answer it step by step. If you are a natural born American citizen, these days, of course, if you have a passport, if you have applied for passport and you have one that is valid for at least a year, in my opinion, you are more than free. In fact, very much empowered to travel the whole world. My only recommendation would be to check the Department of State's website to make sure that you are getting the warnings about where it may be safe or safer, or it may be less safe to go these days. If you are a naturalized American citizen, so the question is, can I travel outside the US for my vacation, to see my parents, for work, if I am a naturalized American citizen? The general answer is yes. However, keep in mind, if there was any problem in your naturalization process, if there was any misinformation, omission of a material fact, fraud, misrepresentation when you were getting your green card or when you were naturalizing and you answered one of the questions in an inaccurate way or incomplete way, um, I do not recommend travel because during the times of political dynamics that really put pressure on naturalized citizens, you may be stuck outside the US. Technically, that's not supposed to happen, but it may happen. So just be careful. Do not travel before you get a full consultation with an experienced immigration attorney. The next question. Can I travel outside the US if I have my green card and that green card is valid for at least 10 years, which we call the permanent legal residence, right? If you have applied for and been approved for a green card and you have no criminal issues, you don't have any arrests, you don't have any crimes that have not been reported, you don't have any misrepresentation issues, no emission issues, no fraud in your past, then typically you can travel and you just need to have your green card on you. Make sure to keep a copy at home just in case you lose it. Somebody can send it to you. Take a picture of it front and back so that you can have it in your email in case your phone is stolen, on your phone as a picture, just in case, and at home and in more than one place so that you have access to it and you can get a replacement later on. With the 10-year green card, legal permanent residence, you do need to have a valid passport from your home country. Make sure your passport is valid for more than 6 months. I usually recommend at least a year. That way you don't have anything to worry about. But typically, if you have it for 5 years or 10 years, it's even better. Again, before you go outside the US, make sure to check the Department of State's website for any warnings, any information about where you are going, and make sure to keep the information as to how you can reach out to the U.S. consulate if you need to. Enjoy your travels. Next question is, can I travel? Do you recommend that I travel if I have my conditional resident card? It's still a green card, but this is the green card that you will need to remove the conditions from within the 90 days before the second anniversary of that green card. So if you have your conditional green card and if there is still at least 6 months until it expires, if you have your valid passport that has at least a year or more until its expiration, you don't have any misrepresentation issues, if you don't have any fraud issues, you never lied, you never hid anything, if you don't have any criminal issues that came up since then you should be able to travel with your conditional green card. The next question is, what if my conditional green card or permanent green card is expiring soon and I haven't applied to renew or to remove conditions? Well, then I usually don't recommend travel until you make the next application. That's why it's really important to have a full consultation to go over these issues, to see where you are and whether anything needs to be filed before you leave the country. And it is very important that once you make your application, and these days I highly recommend that you work with a caring, experienced, competent immigration attorney for any of your consultations, any of your questions, any of your applications. Just a tiny question on any of these applications that is answered inaccurately or incompletely could cause you a lot of trouble down the road. You don't want to end up in a deportation proceeding or in front of the immigration court just to get this done. So if you haven't yet applied, I do not recommend travel. If it's an urgent travel, reach out to us. We'll do a full consultation and see what can be done. But if you have applied for the next thing, for example, if you have applied for your naturalization because it's almost time for you to become a US citizen and your green card is about to expire, you should have a receipt for that application that should state whether or not it's extending your green card. If it is extending your green card, then you should have three things with you at least: your valid passport with at least a year or more on it, your green card that is either expiring or very close to it, and also your extension letter. And you need the original extension letter to be able to travel. And again, you always have to keep in mind, do I have any new issues? Did I misrepresent anything during any time before I applied for these things? And these are really, really important. So make sure that you're checking these. Next issue that's really relevant to this conversation is if you are leaving the United States, whether you are on a green card, a conditional green card, or a 10-year green card, it's really important to understand how long you're going to be outside the country. Because if you are someone who is eventually going to apply for naturalization, we need to pay attention to how long we are staying outside the country. Keep that in mind. Very, very important. And we recommend keeping those international travels, no matter where they are, very brief. Because at the time you apply for naturalization, either based on a 3-year presence and a bona fide marriage, or for 5-year presence on your own, it is important to show whether you have resided in the US. That means physical presence, but more than that. So keep in mind, until you are a naturalized citizen, we do not recommend prolonged stays outside the country. If there is a situation that is going to require for you to be outside the country for more than several weeks, more than several months, especially more than a year, then we do recommend that you apply for a reentry permit. And during that time, it's still important to maintain residence in the United States, meaning you have a home here, you have a car here, you have a lease, some type of payments, you pay your taxes here. So your residence really matters at the time that you apply for naturalization. But even beyond that, you are given the permanent legal resident status based on the fact that you are a permanent resident. So if you are engaging in travels and stays outside the United States that are really lengthy, then you're risking for the green card to be abandoned and to be really taken from you. So these are really important issues. But we went over some really good questions I think are going to help you. I want to remind you, until you and I sit across from each other on Zoom in person and go through all your background, your application, your intent to stay outside the US, all these important questions, so many questions. None of this is legal advice. This is general information. And based on your situation, it could also be either inaccurate, incomplete, or it could be misleading. So please take it for what it is. And if you have specific questions, if you want to determine if you can leave outside the US for a vacation, for a visit, for work, whatever it may be, make sure to reach out, schedule a consultation so that we can go through all the important details and empower you in a way when you leave the US, you feel I'm safe. I can go enjoy this vacation, enjoy this time of growth, enjoy this professional opportunity, whatever it may be, and that I know what the circumstances may be. Because when you're coming back, guess what? Somebody's waiting for you at the entry, and they're called a CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. So they're going to have some questions, and I prefer that you're prepared for that before you leave the US, because based on the circumstances, it may not be best for you to leave. So reach out to us anytime you'd like, schedule a consultation, and we'll be happy to help you on a personal level. And that's what sets us apart. When you hire us, you have direct access to your lawyer at all times. All you need to do is send us an email and schedule it. Have a great day. Enjoy your travels. But before you go, let us know.